All right, so some of you have done paper mache, some of you never have. That's okay. I rip the pieces a little thin. It really depends on what I am making, but you don't really want a piece a lot bigger than this because it's gonna start messing up your piece. It'll be too wide, it'll start folding over itself. You can rip it smaller if you want, like the length. So I dip it right in, cover it all with paper mache, and then I use my fingers to just get the extra off, okay? Now, the point of the paper mache, the technique is that we're making this all hard so that our three-dimensional sculpture will be able to stand up and look more like a cupcake. So you can use your fingers and manipulate as you go on and add the extra layers. The other thing, you saw those beautiful sculptures I showed that the lady was making of the animals. You can do that. You can get all the details you want. So one thing you want to do when you're adding paper mache is you want to overlap the pieces. So I see when I used to teach elementary art, some of the kids would just go like this and be like, okay, I'm done. But you'd have a big, just empty newspaper piece here. You want to overlap that because otherwise, when you go to paint it, it's going to look like a different color. This will look darker because there's the glue underneath, and this is going to look lighter because it's not even hard. It's just plain newspaper. So bring this down. That's why I put a little on either side so that you can get it on both sides. If it's not on both sides, the front won't be covered with paint well when you paint it later, and the back won't stick properly. Okay, so now I've overlapped. All right, now, how many layers can you do in a day? Anybody got an idea? Anybody want to guess? Oh, I don't think we're anybody. It's unlimited amount. So it's not like you can only do 4 and it will break, or you have to do 7 or it won't stay. No, you can do as many as you want. Just don't, some people, like especially again, when I was teaching elementary, people won't clean it off. They'll just try to put it on with all these lumps. Your piece is not gonna dry. It's gonna get wet, moldy. You're gonna come back in here the next day, well, in 2 days, and it won't be dry. So it's gonna be hard to work with when it's kind of like wet. So please clean it off as thin as you can. If you feel like, okay, maybe you accidentally didn't clean so much off, you can take a dry piece and press it down, but then you want to press it over the top as well. There's enough that was already on the surface so that it stuck down. I can't even lift it up. And then there was enough that I could rub it and add it down there. So you don't have to dip it every single time if you have a lot on there. So if you see like, okay, maybe I accidentally didn't clean all of it off, that's okay. Just add a dry piece on, okay? So you'll want to do the whole thing, not even leave the bottom open. So eventually you can go around. Now, when you are working on the details here, you might want to get smaller pieces because you want your details to show up more. So I have these swirls in my cupcake frosting. I don't want them to look messy. Like right now they look kind of messy because this is just the skeleton, okay? So I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna go over, and I can roll under, but some of it is taped so I can rip it. It's just paper, and I can overlap and keep going. So I can form this into a loop. So eventually it'll look smooth and flat, and it will look like a really nice, smooth piping of frosting. Now, this is what I mean about manipulating. See the bump in there? You might not get this time, but maybe next time that you're adding a second layer on in class, or the third time you're adding a third layer on, you could take your fingers and press it down and then wrap another piece over, and you could smooth that down even more, okay? So if the first time you see a lot of bumps, you can smooth it down and manipulate it with your fingers. So just like I always say with clay, you are the boss of the paper mache. This paper mache is not alive. Don't say, oh, well, you know, it was just sticking out. I couldn't do anything there. No, you can rip it off. You can press it down. You can manipulate it with your fingers. So you're the boss of the paper mache. You're the artist, okay? Like, I wouldn't add a piece like here and then roll it down here. You could, but some people will go like this, and then you're not really gonna see the detail of your piping right there, right? So you need to, if you wanna make it go long, you need to then press it down with your fingers so it goes under this roll and then comes down the side flat. Doesn't matter that this paper is going horizontal and this paper is going vertical. You won't see that after you paint it, but you will see the bumps. If you pull this, see how I made it flat now? Does everybody see that? But if you pull it out and just go like that, later when you're painting it, it's gonna look like just a blob, okay? So you need to be really careful. And if it breaks and rips, that's okay. You can fix it with another piece, and you could put another piece sideways, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, and you could put them in sideways and fill in the crack. Okay, so you're gonna be the boss of this, all right? This is not 100% done. I'm gonna keep working on my little test cupcake, okay, as we go.